Hello, everyone. Welcome to Covers and Pages Podcast. My name is Rese, and Covers and Pages Podcast is all about celebrating authors, bookstore owners, book influencers, and narrators who continue to empower the book space. So, if you have read the R&B series, okay, you should know who I have, or if you are watching on YouTube, you see who I have. I have Miss Olivia Linden. And before we get into all of this fun stuff, okay, on Covers and Pages podcast. I gotta read my girl's bio, okay? Okay, all
Okay.
right. Olivia Linden, a native New Yorker, because I love the East Coast. I love people from the East Coast, honey, okay? She was raised between Queens, New York, and San Antonio, Texas. Her stories mix her big personality with a sexy yet humorous tone, weaving tales of passion and suspense that you can feel, branding you with unique vibe. Olivia's drive began when her elementary school principal posted one of her stories in the halls of her schools. That is amazing. She was only 7 at the time, but old enough to understand that writing would be a part of her future, okay? From that moment on, reading and writing became her greatest passion. Drum roll, please. Olivia!
Hey.
Welcome. How
Thank
are you?
you.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. No complaints.
Awesome. You look good.
Thank you. Girl, it's been a day, but I'm here. We're
Ooh,
here,
it
right?
has. It had. Oh, it's been a week.
Y-
It's been a
And
week for
tell me
me.
if this week didn't just like fly by. Just,
It had, and I'm so ready for it to be over.
I agree.
I'm ready for it to be over. Now, do you currently live in San Antonio?
I do. I'm back in San Antonio. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so you just up the street because I'm in Houston.
You're in Houston? Okay. Are you going to the Boozy Book Tour?
I will be there.
Uh, I was trying to probably try to get there for the meet and greet, but I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, I
But
hate
don't
that because I
worry,
love
because I plan on coming to Houston for some events. So
it.
you'll see
Okay.
me. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, when you come to Houston, I would love to take you to two bookstores, two black-owned bookstores that I think your books definitely
Oh,
should be in there.
that sounds like a plan. I will definitely
Yes,
let you know.
yes, ma'am. So, okay, I read your bio. Okay, now that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, I want you to tell everyone who is Olivia.
That is such a question. So who is Olivia? Okay. So of course you guys know I'm an author and books and stories is really a big part of me because I have like a very overactive imagination. So like I could just be sitting here watching TV and then I go zone out and start thinking of a story or just like a story will come to me. But by day, I guess you could say project manager. I'm a mom. I have one. My son. He's a grown man now, but um, for the most part, I'm just like down to earth, goofy, silly, sarcastic. I always get like I don't know. I'm not shy, but I kind of sometimes I get shy when it's time to talk about yourself. It's like, oh,
Right, right. Cause you don't like you want to hit the key points, but you don't want to miss anything.
right, right. And then you don't do too much either, right? Like I don't need to do
Exactly,
too
exactly. You don't want
much.
to like you don't want to be like the president elect, and just go
Exactly.
on and on and on, with these. Hey, we're not here for that. We're not here for that. So just tell me, where does some of your inspiration comes from when you're writing books?
It comes more from like something that like a feeling that I'm having.
Hmm.
Music plays a big role because sometimes I'll be listening to a song, I mean, the R&B series, but like if it puts me in a particular mood, then usually that's when the stories start to come. And then I structure it around that mood. You know what I'm saying? Fill the whole book. I'm like, all right, this is what I want it to feel like. And so after I write every chapter, I actually go back and read it to make sure that it's still feeling like whatever it is, whatever the vibe is that I'm trying to feel.
Now, Forever My Lady,
Hmm.
okay?
Hmm.
Did you have Jodeci in the background when you was writing it?
For sure. And it was funny because I had it on another playlist. Like I was writing a whole other book. I was in an urban fiction book, writing my sequel to my urban fiction. And I had just written a scene that was like really sad. And I was like, all right, this is getting real heavy and it's making me like, I got to think about this right now. And I'm like, I just want to write like the romantic parts. I just want to write the parts where they're like, it's him and his girl. So I said, why don't you just write a book that's just romance? No, no suspense, no real drama, might be a little bit, but nothing crazy. And then Forever My Lady was on that playlist. And I'm like, it's going to be like an R&B series. And I thought of the four friends. I'm like, and each friend is going to get a book, and each book is going to be a song. And that was it.
I love that because as someone who born in the 90s,
Hmm.
love 90s music down. My dad makes fun of me all the time because he's like, girl, you too young to like Boys to Men. I'm like, no, I'm not. Okay.
Perfect age.
No, I'm not. And I love that about your book, specifically the R&B series, because with all the music that we have now, it doesn't give you those like warm butterfly
Mhm.
worth fighting for. You got the man outside crying in the
In the
rain
rain, in the desert. There's
and,
this,
and
you know what I'm
wearing
saying?
leather. Like I haven't seen a music video of someone in the desert wearing leather in forever.
Forever. We're like, what happened? What happened? They're
What
not begging
happened?
anymore. Now they're telling you how they don't need you and how there's 24 more like you. You're like, what?
Exactly. And I see it all the time on social media. Like when like right now, currently as we recording this podcast, the trend now is Boys to Men on bended knee. The part where Wanye was like, "Gonna swallow my pride."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you heard the song, you know what I'm talking about. So I see people in the comments like, "Oh, they don't make songs like this anymore." First of all, if they did, you wouldn't appreciate it.
First of all, your pants are too tight to get down on one knee. You couldn't even do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Because like you said, they talking about, "Oh, I got 15 more just like you." Okay, whatever.
I was on TikTok and I saw a video. They were showing, I think it was like Morgan State or one of the HBCUs in the 90s. And
Mm.
you saw like, guys and girls or whatever, but when it was just a guy and a girl together, like the way he was talking to her and like, holding her hand and making her smile, like they don't even act like that anymore. It's like,
No, no,
uh,
they don't. And I'm so happy that with the R&B series, you are keeping R&B alive. So when your books get in the hands of a younger generation,
mhm,
they can go and Google, "Oh, what is this? Oh, what is that?" and
right.
listen to those songs. Like those are timeless hits,
Hmm.
right? Those are timeless hits.
Bring
They
back the 90s.
listen, heavy on the bring back the 90s. I love the 90s. I love the 90s. So just tell me, what are some of your favorite books to read?
Um, it depends. Like, I guess I'm a mood reader. It depends on my mood. I love romance, of course. Romance is, my baby. But I do like horrors and thrillers.
Okay.
I kind of like, I guess, mystery and suspense books. I like where we don't know who did it. What's the plot twist? What's coming? In urban fic. I'm here. I'm out here with the guys and the product of the streets and Capone and
Yeah.
Capodanno and all those books. So yeah. I'm all over
Come
the
on,
place.
come on, product of the street.
Come on.
So what has just been some challenges you have faced as an author?
I think it's challenging to figure out what not your lane is as far as yourself, but as far as like readers, trying to find people that's my lane. These are my readers right here. Like these are the people because like you just asked, everyone likes different things, right? So you can't knock people for that. You can't also, I mean, you could if you want to, but I don't cater to other people. I write what makes me feel good or what I can identify with because I feel like I do it better that way. And so now it's like trying to find people who identify with what I'm writing. And I
Okay.
think to me, that's the biggest challenge.
Hmm. What, just you being on social media, Instagram, TikTok, what are some things that you have seen that you was maybe like, I don't know about that one, because
I mean,
there's a
people,
lot that goes on social media.
it's so much. I think the whole trope conversation, sometimes
Hmm.
it just, because my first book, I released my first book in 2013.
Okay.
And back then, like you see how you have the ads now, and I have the book, and then I'll be like, it's enemies to lovers, it's fake dating, it's this, that. We didn't used to do that. It just used to
Hmm.
be, it's a romance, it's IR, it's, for the most I ever saw was like people would be BWAM or BWWM, if it was IR. But now it's like, oh, I don't like the pregnancy trope. Oh, I don't like the friends to lovers trope. I don't like this. And it's like, listen, it's a story. You know what I'm
Story,
saying? And
right?
sometimes in stories with two people who are romantic, there may be a baby at the end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just this whole like every time I go on and I see somebody like doing a whole video of something they don't like in a book, it's like, authors, you need to
Right.
stop. Or those are my favorite authors,
Mhm.
you need to stop.
Right. I just think adding to that conversation, like the whole trope conversation, it I feel like it needs to stop, because
Hmm.
just pick up the book and see if you're gonna like it. Like, read it and see if you're gonna like it, because maybe it is a trope that you do not like, but once you read the book, you're gonna end up loving the book and end up loving the author, right?
Right. And I get
Because
it. Like sometimes a trope might be overused, or it might not be, like if you just throw a baby in the book, or I get it. Like I get certain aspects of things could be frustrating, but just because that trope is in a book doesn't mean the book is going to be bad, right? Just
hmm
like it doesn't mean it's going to be good. You could like Friends to Lovers and read a book and be like, this was not it for me. Are you going to say Friends to Lovers is bad, or was it just that book?
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly, because I read some Friends to Lovers. I didn't like them, and I
Hmm.
had some that I love. It's just you know what I say? Read your book and mind your business.
That's it.
But
And drink some
in a
water.
perfect
That's
and
it.
drink
That's all
some
you got
water,
to do.
and drink your water. In a perfect world, that'd be great. But hey, unfortunately, it's not.
And it
Have
is
you?
what it is. Like you can't knock people for what they like, but like trying to tell other people what they should and shouldn't do is just like too much.
Right. That leads me to my next question. Have you ever had a moment where you wanted to just kind of leave the writing space?
I did leave the writing space. I left for
Hmm.
like 7 years. It was around, yeah, like 2014, 2015.
Hmm.
I think I didn't really have a clear plan. After I released my first book, I just kind of threw that book out there. Like, I wrote a book. I had no plan of what I wanted to do, who I was as an author. And because the first book was an interracial romance, which before I released it, I didn't even understand categories, right? I just knew it was a romance. Like I wasn't really on social media in the book world like that. So long story short, I got swept up in interracial romance, right? So I wrote that book. That was the 3 book series. And then I wrote like a novella, actually 2 shorts after that. And they were all interracial. And so it's like you kind of got branded like, oh, she's an interracial author. And I was like, but I don't want to be. Like, I have all these stories, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have Black romance, I have urban fiction, I have all these stories I want to write. And I just kind of felt like I got burnt out a little bit on my fault. I was just doing too much. I was in every group I could be in. I was promoting all day long. I was trying to write, 3 book series and more series and in this anthology. I was just doing too much. And it was a lot of, there was drama and learning, my lesson then. Now on social media I move much more differently, because it's difficult to meet people online and know who you can trust and not trust, right? By the time you
Right.
figure out you can't trust them, it's usually too late.
Hmm.
You say one thing and they're like, oop, calling their friend, and then that friend is, telling their friend, and next thing you know, you're in something and you really didn't even say anything that crazy, but because of, people's perceptions, it becomes a thing. So long story short, I took a break. I was like, I need to regroup. I didn't feel like my creativity was flowing the way I needed it to flow. So from about 2015 to 2022, I just
What brought you
stepped back.
back?
That story, the urban fic, was like, are you gonna finish me? So what we gonna do? You gonna finish? Like, what's up? Like, I kept opening it, and like I would write a little bit, and then I would close it, and then I think I just kind of came into myself more as a person. Also, like, I'm just a lot more grounded. I think it was just that time period. I had a lot of things going on in life in general, and so trying to balance, like, being a full-time author online is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was online all day long and writing and doing this and doing that, and it's not feasible. So now I think I have a better grasp of like how I want to approach it. And so I was like, all right, let's do it again. Let's try.
What's your favorite to write?
Romance.
Romance.
I love writing tension. I love writing, that build up. I love a misunderstanding. I know people get frustrated, but I love like making people come back to each other.
Right. Okay, so you mentioned that you started with interracial romance.
Hmm.
Did you get some pushback with that from the Black community?
No, I mean, no, at the time, I think it was just because it was like, I'm telling you, it was like a different world. It
Mm-hmm.
was its own niche, its own lane. And I mean, I was in a group, there was a group with like 800 readers in it, all interracial romance readers. And somebody in that group read my book, and that changed everything for me. That just like, because I didn't know, like I said, I was just on like, hey, I wrote a book, everybody read it. And somebody was like, girl, you should put this under IR. Because I didn't have, like I said, I just had it under romance on Amazon. And they were like, girl, this is interracial and it's, multicultural because you got another guy that's this. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it actually was good for me at that time. Coming back now, I see that there's like this thing, because that whole like, what is Black love conversation wasn't really a thing back then. So now I see like, okay, people feel like if it's not two Black characters, it's not Black love. But as an author, when you write a book, especially as somebody like me who wasn't even thinking at the time, I just had three characters that popped up. The love interest just happened to be white. It wasn't anything that I planned. I can't
Mm-hmm.
worry about who's gonna like it or who's not gonna like it.
Right.
You know?
Right. So how do you deal with just bad reviews that you see online?
I mean, I
'Cause
don't
that
get
can
a
be something
bunch,
within
thank God.
yourself as well. Mm-hmm.
I don't get a lot, but the ones that I do, sometimes if it's constructive criticism, I'm not gonna act like it. You don't look at it like, you don't like it. What do you mean? But
Right.
you still take it into consideration, like, okay, well, what is this person saying? If you see enough people saying that same thing, maybe that's something that you have to look at. But otherwise, if it's just like a one here, one there,
Right.
sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, didn't like it, or like I stay off of Goodreads for the most part. I'm like, you know what, don't
Mm-hmm.
even, you just take a look to see like what is it? What is it? 4.3, 4.5. Okay, it's good. We're still standing. We're good. And then I get out of
Now, okay, so with Amazon Kindle Unlimited,
there. Mm-hmm.
has there been a moment where you was just like, okay, I'm gonna just pull my content from this because it's because from the stories that I have heard from just
Mm-hmm.
different authors, I heard some say it's worth it, and I heard some say it's not worth it because depending on who you are,
Mm-hmm.
you can get some marketing depending on who you are. But if you're an indie author and you're a lot smaller, you're trying to get your feet wet, you're trying to gain,
Mm-hmm.
gain your audience and different things like that. You don't get some of that backing
No.
from them.
So for me, what I think with KU is you can use it with a strategy, right? So if you are a new author and you feel like you just want to put your books in there because people will, maybe download it because it's, they could basically not free, but they can get it for, a good price or whatever.
Hmm.
Like right now with the R&B series, Forever My Lady is not in Kindle Unlimited anymore. the second two books are, right? So I figured if you like the first one, okay, cool. If you're in Kindle Unlimited, then you can skate on through the rest of the series. But I felt like putting all three of them in there, um, sometimes people will read the first book and it's going to maybe take them a while to get to the second one or the third one. And so they may put it on their Kindle, but it's not getting read. So you're still not getting those page reads and you don't really get a lot. For like, if somebody reads a whole book, I think it's like less than $2. You know what I'm saying? So,
I heard.
so I'm like, okay, if you are trying to actually make money as an author, sometimes I've had times where I pulled all my books out of Kindle Unlimited and you just test the temperature. Like, how much are people actually buying it? Are people willing to buy this at full price? And Amazon makes you feel like you have to, have your book at a certain price. If people don't know you, you should charge this much. But if you think about it, I'm like, wow, I sat here and I wrote a whole book, right? And the ebook is on Amazon for like $2.99, $3.99. If I have everything in KU, people are getting this book, like they spend more on coffee. They spend more on a soda. You know what I'm saying? Like a Coke. You go to Five Guys, you're going to spend more on a Coke than on the ebook.
Or a bag of chips.
A bag of chips, exactly. Yeah. So, when you look at it like that, it's like, all right, maybe I'm not going to keep my books in KU. Like I want as many people to read it as possible, but another author I know, it's like you got to know your worth also. Right. And if you present yourself like you're just giving it all away, people will get to you when they get to you.
One thing that I always preach anytime I am interviewing an author is to buy the book. Buy the book. If you have the finances to purchase the book, whether that be physical, ebook, or the audiobook, buy the book. Because I'm the type of person, I like to go back and reread the book. And when I found the R&B series, because I don't want to return it, and I saw someone talk about that on TikTok recently, about KU. I feel like I need to bring a bunch of authors on this podcast and just let y'all just vent about KU.
Listen, I have a bunch. If you want to have a conversation, I have a few that I
know. When I saw the R&B series, I immediately just purchased it. But I recognize a lot of people don't have that luxury, so KU works for them. But again, I'm also the type of person, I buy it on Amazon, I buy the physical book for my bookshelf, and then I buy the audiobook. Because for one, Olivia, the reason why I do that is because I believe in us so much. I believe in us. And since I have entered back into this book space, I want to ensure that I am supporting you all's work to the fullest, because I know with my profession that I do, if it's anything like my profession, or it's the same. It's a lot of behind the scenes work, and it's a lot of time. So I get it. Like, for those who do not know, I do videography. And my camera isn't cheap. It's not cheap.
Your time is not cheap. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
This is not a hobby. Like, I'm not out here like, hey guys, I'm crocheting hats. Like, no. And even that, like, if you start doing that and you're good at it and you're selling it, people can't tell you like you shouldn't get anything for it because it's a hobby.
Exactly. So if y'all are listening, buy the book, buy the ebook.
If you can buy the book, buy the book. I love. Listen,
you can still put it on your Kindle. You can still put it on your Kindle, your Kobo, your and all these other e-readers that they have out. So, y'all go on these authors' websites and buy the book, please. Please buy their books because they are good. Because again, like I love to go back and reread the book, because also, I just feel like maybe there was something in the books, like little nuggets that I missed. So I want to go back and be like, oh, okay, I missed this. Or sometimes what y'all do is y'all drop like little Easter eggs to prep you for the next book. So before I get to the next book, I need to go back
and read. Go back and do a little, It's like in
Exactly.
school when they had the textbooks and they had the word in black and you knew that that book that was going to be on the test. Like, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So, just tell me what makes a great story.
I think a great story is something that leaves you satisfied. I think a great story makes you feel something, whether you laugh, you cry, you get irritated. Like sometimes people leave reviews and they're very passionate, and I'm like, but you felt something. You look at you. You
Right.
felt something, right? You wanted something more. Like you were enjoying this. You just wanted something else, and that's fine. So I think that a book that makes you that could take you out of right here and now, I think that's what makes a good book.
Mhm. Yeah. Anytime I close a book and I say, God bless me with a husband, that book was good.
Listen,
Because I want this love. I want it. I need it in my life.
and you know what? Part of me is like, because I'm very like, oh, I'm like, listen, if you read something and it makes you want that, that's almost like, are you gonna manifest a husband out here? Like, listen, I'm trying to get us all that love, right? We all deserve this. So,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I understand. Like, every relationship is not perfect, like life is not perfect, but can we have something to like hope for, right? Can I have
Exactly.
like,
And see, and that's why I love, well, I am a romance, suspense, thriller type of girl.
mhm.
That's my area. I stay there. Don't give me no fantasy, please. Okay? I will not read it. If it's a sword on it, I'm gonna sword this
She's
book
like,
in your
no.
face. Anyway, we're not here. That's not the conversation for another day. But one thing I love that you authors do, like y'all really give me hope that there is love out there. Now, what I can say, and I tell this to every author, y'all get on my nerves. Okay, so let me tell you why.
Uh-oh.
Because y'all build these male characters to be damn near perfect. I mean, they
Mhm.
over 6 foot. They got chocolate skin and just 9 inches of goodness. Olivia, where he at?
I mean, they're out there. I don't. I mean, but look at these guys. Like somebody said that to me about the R&B series. I said, well, to be fair, they're all athletes, right? Like they're all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and when I was in college, those were not the guys that not that I didn't want to, but we know what comes with dating an athlete. So you got to be a
Right.
special kind of woman if that's what that's what you want. So, it's not like it's impossible, but and there's some really nice thugs out there too. Maybe they weren't in college on the basketball team, but they're still 6'2" and chocolatey.
And all the extra good stuff that y'all
All
write.
that extra good stuff. Yeah. It's not
Hey,
impossible.
he out there, and I'm gonna find him. He gonna come to me one day,
That's it.
uh, and I'm gonna tell him go read the R&B series.
Listen, this is what I tell everybody. Everybody talks about like what's going on with men and women and relationships and men are this and women are doing this right now. Don't even worry about any of that. You know what kind of person that you are and you know the kind of person that you want. And you see it. Like there's women out here finding great men, right? And having families.
Mhm.
That's all you gotta focus on. All the other stuff,
Right.
it doesn't even relate. It's irrelevant. So that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I want to write this series because that's relevant. Like on my mind, you want people to think about love in a healthy way, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I want to do.
Right.
I've written enough like toxic shit.
You.
Let's write some more.
What has just been like the most surprising thing you learned since being a writer?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it surprises me how much I love it every time. Like, it's one thing to be able to write a story and, know that you can come up with it and put it out, but to like love it, like while I'm in it, I'm like, and then I'm gonna make this happen, and then they're gonna find out that this happened. It's like, wow, girl, you really in this, So I think that was a surprise how much I actually really love writing.
Hmm. How do you come up with just the covers of the books? Because as a person that judges, yes, I judge a cover by its book now, okay? Because what I said earlier, if it has a sword on it, the answer is not but hell no, okay? Because just looking at Lovers and Friends and Give It a Chance and Forever My Lady, and then you have a Christmas book that's coming out
Mm-hmm.
December
Yes,
uh
it's part of the
December
12 days of
23rd.
Christmas. So if you like
Yes,
romance, you've got 12 days of Christmas books coming to you.
yes, yes, yes. So how did you what was like the inspiration just behind some of the covers of the books?
Okay, so Forever My Lady, I do my covers, right? So I'm not a graphic artist or any of that. And I was trying to do the whole like find a picture and then manipulate it. And it just wasn't working. And then I found a graphic and I said, all right, let me just start playing around with the graphics. If you see how many versions of that cover, like you can ask my mother, you can ask my son, I was driving them crazy. I'm like, what did y'all think about this? What about this? And then just by playing with it and tweaking it and learning how to use that app and adding later, I was like, oh, okay, I want hearts. I'm like, it's gonna be pink. And I just want this couple in the middle of this heart, and that's what came up.
I love it. They are some beautiful,
Thank
beautiful book
you,
covers.
thank you. I was so nervous about those covers because I was just like, I mean, are people gonna think this is like, no spice, Nicholas, Sparks type books? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they'd be surprised.
Yes. They're gonna be surprised, honey. Because the spice is there.
And it
The
gets
spice is
worse every book. So somebody was like, I read Forever My Lady and it was okay, but then given a chance, she was like, oh my God.
and okay, so let's kind of touch on just spice, right?
Mhm.
As you were writing, did you ever write something and was like, no, that ain't really realistic. Let me delete and try it again. And if you have, we want a example.
Um, so I'm very, spice is very special to me, right? I
Me
know
too.
personally when I'm reading a book and if the spice is outrageous, I still read it and I still like it, but I'll be laughing. I'll be like, now your arm did not do, your leg can't go there. What? Where is,
You was not hanging from that ceiling, sis.
that door frame would have fallen to the ground with that. You didn't do that,
You
but that's
you
okay.
know them hinges would have came off that wall. Stop playing with us.
So I'm always like thinking like, all right, what Remy, okay, so there's a part in the book where Remy kind of lifts Shell up, right? And he has her like that. He could do that because she's kind of a small girl. Now, I wouldn't pull the same thing on maybe Joey and Shane, right? Maybe Shane, he might be, but Joey's a bigger girl. So you just keep these things in mind. Like, yes, some people could do a lot, but you could do a lot more when there's a very big advantage, or, between the two people. So
Right.
I'm very mindful, I think, when I'm writing it. Like, I write it and then I stop and I read it and I'm like, okay, okay, all right. I mean, sometimes like I'll be laughing because I'll be like, boy, he's really doing the most. Like, okay. But, I just always keep in mind the characters and like somebody like Jay, he's a playful guy, but he's also like very intense. So I knew him and Nicole were gonna be doing like they were just gonna be all over each other. I knew it. I said once they crack that seal, it's going down.
Right. Girl, listen. Cause I was like, okay, Olivia, I see you, girl. We here.
Yeah, girl.
We here. Like I ride with you. You have a reader, sis. Okay. Cause if it's spice, I'm going to. So before we hop off, just tell me
Mhm.
what's next for you.
So, like you said, what's next? I have the Christmas novella. It's what is it called? Mistletoe, Mischief and
So
Mistletoe. I'm like, what is my book? Mischief and Mistletoe. So It's like a little twin switch type story, pretending to be somebody else. Of course, are we gonna fall in love? We're not gonna fall in love. And there's gonna be some spice in that book, a little Christmas. And like I said, it's 12 days, so most of those books are like, I won't say most. I will say all of those books. They're gonna shock you, I feel like, a little bit. I think all of those authors pulled out a little bit of something a little extra for Christmas. So I'm excited. And then after that, the next thing for me would be the last book. Well, the last girl in the R&B series. Kiko will get her book, so that should be around Valentine's Day, I think, somewhere around there. And I have an anthology that I'm part of, Geeks and Jocks, so that'll be coming out next June. I'll be at the Boozy Book Tour in Oklahoma in February. And then I'll be at the Black Romance Fest in May in Atlanta. So hopefully I'll get some other stuff on there in between. But that's really what I got going on.
Beautiful. I love that. And I'm looking forward to just all of your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely going to discuss it all over TikTok because
yes, thank you. We love that. Plus, we love that. I just need to let people know. Some people are like, "Oh, I didn't want to embarrass you." You can't embarrass me. Like, if you like the book, you could post it. You could say anything you want about it. You can hit me up in my DMs. Like, I love when people hit me up. Like, what is so and so doing right now? I'm like, oh, you're at that part. All right, cool. So, thank you. I appreciate that. You don't know when you come to an author and tell them like, oh, I liked your book, I'm going to post about it. You're going to post about it. Like, thank you. That means a lot.
And that's part of the reason why I wanted to create this podcast, so readers can better get to know their favorite authors, right? Because we pick up these books, we read it. Yeah, we're discussing the story, but I want to know a little bit more. I want to know a little bit more about you and why you got started. And I feel like it just makes a better experience for the book that we're reading.
That's true. So I have a question now. You made me think of something. As a reader, when you're on TikTok and you see an author promoting their book, what kind of things do you want to see? Like, what would make you say, I think I'm going to buy that book?
I know for me, and I can only speak for me, I'm not going to even much life. I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. If they black, I'm going to go buy it.
I'm looking for everybody black.
Okay. I think, okay, let me just answer your question. For what made me want to go and buy the R&B series was the fact that like I mentioned earlier, I'm an R&B girl. So when you were promoting the book, it just really intrigued me, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this? Let me go check it out." And I don't read the back of the books. I just start reading.
I feel
it's my little secret. It's my little secret, and I'm
I do the same thing.
So exactly what you did to get me to go and read it, I would say continue doing it. The whole trope thing, I ignore it, because that's just something that's not on the top of my list. Gotcha. I look at the author, the cover, and the name of it, and boom, I'm finna go and get it.
Makes sense.
So, but that's just me. Someone else might have a different answer.
No, of course. But I mean, that's pretty simple. I think I like to pick people's brain because sometimes we feel like we should be doing one thing and people are like, no, we just need to see the cover and,
the title,
this and that.
Right. The cover, the title, I'm finna go and get it. Boom. I'm finna go and get it.
That's
baby. It. I saw Lovers and Friends, which was my favorite song. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I love Baby Tell Me Again. I had no business singing that song in 6th grade. You did? I'm telling you, Forever My Lady? Wait a minute. What is this? Yep, I'm finna go buy that lady's books.
beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's just me. I really love the way y'all promote y'all's books. I feel like it's just it's organic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not too much, you know what
Hmm.
I mean? And as a reader, I get it. I get it. You don't have the traditional publishing company putting your book out in,
Exactly.
in a magazine or anything like that. And that's one thing that I love about indie authors. Like, y'all are just so true to your content that you post. And
Hmm.
for me, that means a lot. And y'all are real people with families,
That's it.
y'all have your own issues going on, but you still getting on this app promoting your book. So I'm gonna go and get it. I'm telling you, when you came across my timeline, wait a minute, let me go on this lady's page. Hold on, let me see what you got.
What's she
Yep,
talking
I'm going
about?
to. Let me open this computer because you can't download no book on your iPhone. I was
Yeah.
like, let me open this computer and let me up, yep, up, bye. One thing I do want to see is an audiobook.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I already have a narrator in mind. So if she can get me on her schedule,
Is it
um,
Wesley?
no, it's not. It's
Okay.
not.
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay.
you've heard of Audrey Shanice. She's relatively new, but she's
Yeah.
done.
Okay. I
Okay,
follow.
so
Yes.
yeah,
I
if
follow
she's
stuff on TikTok.
available, I'll definitely get her.
Okay. I love that. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. I love her, and I'm gonna end up buying it too.
She did a little snippet. She did a snippet on her page about the time when she really started putting her little studio together. So it might still be there, but yeah, she's what made me say, okay, I need to do an audiobook
Yeah.
for real.
Yes, I love that. Yes, we're gonna get some audio books from Olivia, y'all. Whoop, 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 whoop. Manifesting all of those good things.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so give everyone your socials and where they can find you.
So you can find me on TikTok, Facebook, basically everywhere is Olivia Linden. I think Instagram, I'm Via Linden at Via Linden, but if you put in Olivia Linden author, you're gonna find me. So Olivia Linden author, and my website is queenofvibes.com.
Beautiful. Love that. Is there anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
I just want to say thank you. This was a great interview and I appreciate it. I had a great time. And I don't know, I just feel like everybody just go read my book.
Yes.
Read it and
Go
tell me
buy
what
her
you
book.
think.
And go buy her book. I'm not gonna
I
tell y'all
would.
no more.
That's it.
Well, thank you again for just taking the time for this interview, coming on Covers and Pages podcast.
Thank you
Again,
again.
I love your work, beautiful
Thank
stories. I look
you.
forward to December 23rd for the Christmas book.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, we're gonna end it with go buy her book. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for listening and watching Covers and Pages podcast. Be sure to follow Olivia, follow myself, and like she said, DM her, talk to her. She's
I'm
there.
here. I'm here.
Yes. Bye, y'all.
Bye.